Hello, welcome to another installment of Comparative Reasoning. I'm your host, Sidra Kennedy, and I want to make this a short one. I actually jotted down notes because this is about protecting yourself and stuff. It's a bad time, pandemics and other things like that. And I gotta say pandemics because you've got the original out there that's being drowned out when it comes to COVID-19, and you got the Delta variant, and then you've got another variant that's coming out of South America. So look, in general, I got done with my last one, and I listened to another podcast, and it was about another Trump site and whatnot. And then it just, I got lost and stopped listening and just lost in my own thoughts. And then I was like, man, what about that story about God sending, help and stuff? So, I was like, really, these people should really be in on this. So it reminded me, okay, I was like, this guy got lost at sea. He needs help. He begs and prays God for help. Okay. A wooden raft comes by. God says, hey, man, you need a lift? And he goes, no, I'm waiting for God to help me. And then small two-seater dinghy comes by, and he's like, hey, man, you out here alone? He said, no, waiting for God to save me. Okay. And then a two-seater rowboat comes along, and he's like, hey, come on, man. You out here? You're clearly looking at waterlogged. You're pruning. Get in, man. And he's like, no, waiting for God to save me. So he's, are you sure you need help? He's like, no, I'm waiting for God to save me from this moment. So God goes on. Then the swimmer drowns. He goes to heaven. God, why didn't you save me? And he's like, I tried. I sent you 3 boats. And so that was the moral lesson of that. Look, you see help coming along, yada, 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 just take the help. And, sometimes these things, they're replaced with, a luxury liner and stuff like that, but I'm going to pass it over because it ain't God saving me. Okay. So how could you turn this for the pandemic? The pandemic has way more than this, because see, that's just a fable. It's a story. This is reality. This is reality. So when it comes to the pandemic, when it comes to COVID, if you're religious and you're not wearing a mask, you're religious and you're not self-isolating, or as much as you can anyway, responsibly, then this will be for you, mainly. So, look, there's a pandemic coming. Okay. When should you be worried? Okay, well, your politicians, they sold off stocks and locked up their families. But they said, don't worry about it. And then you didn't because, you were Republican or just putting your faith in God. Okay. And don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with putting your faith in God, so long as it's not a detriment. That's how I see it. So long as it's not a detriment. Okay. Then the next one is, they admit it's to downplaying the virus. Okay. They admit it. The virus is real. It's strong, but I downplayed it, but it wasn't enough for you to believe that the virus is real. Okay. And then they cite vaccinations and masks are not needed while getting the vaccinations for themselves. People like Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity and people like that talked about anti-masks and your freedom and no vaccinations. They all got vaccinated. And then months later, they say, yeah, we got vaccinated. Then, no, didn't get vaccinated. That was just, I just said that, but it wasn't true. So, yeah. And then let's go with something that predates this thing. Let's go back to something that is around, W. Bush's era. Okay. What about the doctor's orders are ignored despite the decades? Okay. Doctor's orders today are ignored. Don't listen to your doctor. What do they know, right? And the only doctors you care to listen to are the nurses and doctors that say that this is not real and it's a hoax. They are in the medical facility where they're supposed to be healers, and they're telling you that this viral thing is a hoax. Just keep that in mind. Okay? But they say doctors' orders are ignored despite the decades of commercial ad pushed drugs with various lethal side effects followed by ask your doctor. For example, these pills are to help your diabetes. They're to aid in erectile dysfunction. They are they're supposed to aid in reducing hair loss. They are to help with your Crohn's or whatnot. But it can cause heart failure, liver failure. A side effect is death. A side effect is blindness. A side effect can be certain cancers and whatnot. And they say, make sure you ask your doctor if such and such drug is right for you. You've got these side effects, which at first, in the beginning, they didn't have those side effects, but they got them now. You know, and what I'm saying is they wouldn't have to admit that they had these side effects. And then enough people got hurt and they said, okay, now you got to slap a label on it. Now you got to put it out there with the ad when you advertise the drug. Now you got to put out the side effects. So then now you get the drug and all this crap that can happen. And then say, ask your doctor if it's right for you. Think about that. Okay. Now, in addition, let's add to this pile. Well over 500,000 people are dead from something that does not exist. That's the logic we have to go with. Over 500,000 people, roughly 700,000 people, give or take, are dead from COVID or COVID-related deaths. Okay? From a virus that doesn't exist. Or a virus that's not lethal because one person's grandmother or someone they know survived it. No matter how severe the long-term effects are, but they survived it, so what are you worried about? Okay, so when it's all said and done, it comes down to personal responsibility. That very thing we teach our kids to have, because either, one, I'm not going to be here all the time to watch over you, or two, no one else is responsible for an adult other than that adult. In the world of boxing, it's said, come out fighting and protect yourself at all times. I suggest fighting this with a grand defense of masks and as much isolation as possible. That's how I see it. That's what I think for this. So I'm hoping that maybe, you could pass this along, someone can hear it or something. Maybe it'll spark something. Maybe there's some words that no one's ever considered saying to them or they've never heard before. But hey, I'm not a guy that's trying to make a buck. I'm a guy that's trying to save a life. I'm a guy trying to save his own life. I'm a guy that's trying to save your life. So if you're not going to listen to the guy that's trying to save you, then who will you listen to? I suggest listen to someone that you can actually hear speak, and someone that's not in it for the money, and somebody that's not in it, just to keep an audience base. This has been Sidra, candidate for comparative reasoning. Thank you for listening.